Hello and welcome back once again to After the Credits. So before you guys ask what happened to the green screen, well, I'm doing some remodeling over here, so can't use the normal set that I normally use. But there is a new set coming, so be looking forward to that. Also, sorry if the light keeps popping in behind me. I'm doing my best to block it out, but there is a window behind me, so there's nothing I can do if I happen to slightly shift out of the way. Also, I do want to apologize for the amount of time it's taking me to get these videos up. There's some stuff going on aside from the remodeling that's kind of preventing me from doing these videos as regularly as I used to. One being a change in my work schedule, another being some family issues, medical things. Nothing I really want to go into right now, maybe in a later video. But for right now, you guys are here to listen to me talk about a movie I've seen. It has been a couple weeks since I've seen this, so again, I apologize for the lateness, but real life stuff got in the way. So I saw the movie, but it's taken me a couple weeks to actually sit down and talk about it. So today, we're going to talk about Life. So Life is a movie about alien life being found on a meteor in space and experimented on by scientists, and everything goes horribly wrong and a lot of people die. A lot of people tell me that it reminded them of the original Alien movie. It's been a long time since I watched the original Alien or any of the Alien movies in general, so I can't really compare it too much, but from what I remember off the top of my head about Alien, the alien in that movie, the xenomorph, is designed to kill, where this one it seems like it was more an act of defense because the alien didn't understand what was going on. So there's this group of scientists on the space station orbiting the Earth, and they managed to lasso a meteor or something. I forget how the meteor came into play, but it was passing extremely close to them, so they grabbed hold of it and pulled it in so they could study the raw material of it or something. Or maybe it wasn't even a meteor. I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been a satellite returning from Mars or some other planet. I forget what it was. Somehow something ended up on a meteor or on a planet, and it brought back a sample. They got a hold of it, and it turned out the sample had a living life form in it. It was a small biological life form, microbes, bacteria, whatever you want to call it. But basically, like early proto-life, a small glob of goo that reacted to stimulus. So they play around with it for a little bit in the lab, and it starts to react to them, mimicking them, doing things like that. Very similar to in Deep Space Nine when you go into Odo's origin story about how he was a small glob that eventually started mimicking the professor who was experimenting on him, and then they found out he was sentient and blah, blah, blah. It reminds me a lot of that origin story there. But what ends up happening that turns this into the darker version of the film, more towards Alien, is, again, I'm forgetting exactly what happened here, but for some reason, I don't know if it was like a jump in time where the scientists had been working around the clock trying to learn more about this thing, and he was neglecting his own sleep or something, because it kind of jumped to a different point in the movie rather quickly, and I was like, wait, what just happened? But somehow something went wrong in the lab, and the container that they had the life form in depressurized. So the life form, out of reflex and a survival instinct, went back into a hibernation mode where it just kind of shut down and was back in a rest state because of the difference in pressure and drop in temperature and whatever. It didn't know what was happening. So the scientists realized, okay, well, it's hibernating, but it's still alive. It survived. We got to coax it back into everything's okay, come back out, and let's continue. And their idea to do this is to probe it with an electrical probe. So they give it a small zap, and it's non-responsive, so let's up the juice. So that time they zap it, and I guess it took that as a threat because that one was painful. So again, out of a need to defend itself, it latches onto the scientist's hand. And it's crushing the bones in his hand. And instead of just relaxing and being hey, and he's kind of clenching his hand together, trying to fight back against this thing, showing force, instead of just relaxing and letting it grip onto you. Yeah, you might have had a broken hand, but it might have been oh, he's not resisting, he's just trying to get my attention, and might have let go. But no, because he keeps fighting back, it keeps gripping tighter, and eventually his hand is shattered. So then the other scientists are well, we got to get him out of the sealed lab before the thing escapes because it's trying to break out of the containment. So one guy goes in to get him, and right when he's getting him back out of the door, the thing breaks free, so the other guy slams the door shut and locks it so that it can't escape out into the rest of the space station. So again, you now have another guy being confronted by this alien life form who probably can't tell the difference between humans, even though one guy was black, one guy was white. Maybe it can't see color, maybe it can, who knows. But I don't think it distinguished that it was a different person. It's hey, I'm being attacked, I'm defending myself. So it attacks the guy in the room who, again, tries to fight it, tries to kill it. So it runs and tries to hide, and he keeps going after it. And eventually it ends up killing him. And now that he's dead, in order to get it off the ship, they just blow the hatch or whatever and jettison it out into space. It's like, okay, whatever, it's gone off the ship. Well, now it's to a point where I'm not sure why it couldn't go back into its hibernative state, but because it's out in the vacuum of space, it knows it's in some type of danger, so it's trying to get back into the ship, or it's because, hey, these people are trying to kill me, I'm going to take them out first. It doesn't really go into what the thinking of the alien is, but it keeps trying to get back into the ship. So it's trying to crawl in through the rocket booster ports. So they're like, okay, well, anytime it tries to come in, we'll just fire one off, and it'll go back out. Well, in the course of doing this, they've thrown themselves out of their geosynchronous orbit of the Earth, and they're like going into rapid decay to where they're going to like crash into the atmosphere. So they say, well, I can use what power we have left to correct this, or we can keep trying to keep this thing out of the ship. But if I use it to correct it so that we don't burn up in the atmosphere, it's going to get back in. So they take the high road and let it back in. And then it's just, this whole thing where they're trying to track it down, trying to kill it or whatever. And again, it's defending itself, trying to kill them. And each time it kills one of them, it kind of absorbs them and grows larger. By the end, you come down to where there's only 2 people in the alien left. And they come up with the idea that there's 2 escape pods. We'll lure it into one and jettison it out into space, and then we'll get in the other one and go back to Earth. The space station is just a loss. And of course, there's some malfunction to where they can't just jettison the pod once the thing's in there. It has to be manually controlled. So one says that they'll stay behind and take out the alien while the other one goes back to Earth and warns everyone, or like delivers the report or whatever. So the plan actually works. They get into the pod, they jettison both of them out into space. One's going into space, one's going into Earth. And I'm not going to tell you exactly how it ends, but I will say there's a very good bit of misdirection here. Again, it's not an uncommon ending to the movie, because when I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, it's probably going to go this way, but maybe it's going to go the other way. But when the little bit of a twist that they try to throw in actually happens, I honestly kind of had written it off at that point. I was like, okay, well, I've kind of written off that that's what's going to happen from like 10 minutes ago. But when it actually happens, it's like, oh, wow, I didn't see it coming. I mean, I saw it coming because it's a predictable ending for the movie, but I had totally written it off as a possibility at this point that it would happen. So when it actually happened, it's kind of like, oh, that was kind of cool. You got me on that one, whatever. But yeah, so without spoiling the ending of the movie, that's about all I can say about it. It has an interesting twist if you don't see it coming, or even if you do see it coming and you're like me and kind of wrote it off 10 minutes prior to. It kind of gets you off guard, but again, it's kind of generic. So again, like I said, this versus Alien, this seems more like the alien doesn't know what's going on other than it's being attacked and it's defending itself, where in Alien, the xenomorph is designed to kill. So that's what it does. The face hugger attaches to the face, lays the egg in the stomach. The egg bursts out of the stomach, grows into a full xenomorph. It lays an egg. The egg hatches into a face burster, and repeat cycles. I mean, that's the way the xenomorphs in Alien live. Where this one is like, hey, we found this thing, and we're probing it, and it's registering it as an attack and defends itself. Overall, it wasn't a bad film. Like I said, the pacing kind of jumped a little bit to where I wasn't sure exactly what had happened at one point. And there is some comparison to Alien, but like I said, it's not exactly Alien. It's just different enough from Alien to not be Alien, if I can put it that way. So what would I give this as far as a star rating? Honestly, it's just kind of a middle-of-the-road film. Even the little, oh wow, they got me with the twist thing, it was still a generic twist, and I did kind of call it earlier in the film and then just kind of forgot about it. So it doesn't really earn too much back with that. So yeah, for this one, I'm going to have to give it a 3. It's just kind of middle of the road. It wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a great movie. It was watchable. I mean, I wasn't really bored watching it for the most part. I wasn't super entertained, but like I said, I wasn't bored either. So yeah, it gets a 3 from me. If you like Alien, check it out. You might like it. You might not. It might be too similar to Alien. Just be like, oh, it's just a ripoff. I don't know. I haven't seen Alien in a long time. But yeah, so aside from that, this movie gets a 3. That's pretty much all I got to say about it other than that. So again, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are down in the description. Click the bell up here in the corner. Make sure you get notifications every time I post new content. And until next time, I'll see you after the credits.